There's a buy link for these plans in the video description. Underneath that I've also linked some free plans, so you have an idea of what you'll be getting before you commit to buying. These plans do, however, come with a 3D model and animation, which should help you. Today we're going to take apart the Vetterli-Vitali and figure out how it works. A few notes on rubber bands and shells first. These are your normal size 19 rubber bands and size 34s. These ones in particular have a very soft stretch, but I quite like them. And the shells measure 10mm in diameter, 36mm long. That's just normal aluminium pipe. There's slots cut in. That's just so it makes that wonderful, wonderful sound. So starting up at the muzzle, got a thin aluminium flashing barrel band, just for looks, and the barrel's just some 16mm dowel. Coming back to the front sight, this is actually adjustable. See, it's just this aluminium plate screwed onto wood. You could alternatively just go with a wooden block with a nail through it. It's a bit simpler. But the whole idea of this is that I can reposition this side. I can move it back here for size 19 rubber bands, move it up here for 34, and move it up here for rubber bands that I don't even have. So I probably could have made this a bit shorter. Moving back, you've got the receiver held by two little split pins. I'll just show you how it works assembled first. So the rubber bands are loaded as normal. And then I can load the magazine. Close the bolt. Pull the trigger. I need to pull the bolt back with a decent amount of force so that they eject properly. Now I've still got one rubber band left, but because of the follower, I actually can't close the bolt. That actually forces me to top up the magazine to continue, which is pretty neat. Now taking the receiver out is actually really easy because it's pinned in place with split pins. So they put just a bit of tension on and make sure they don't fall out. They're not too tight that they're hard to pull out. The receiver goes out through the top. I'll take a quick look at the stock first. It's made of my favourite cypress pine, 19mm. I did have to saw a piece in half to get these pieces, but it's definitely possible, so I did that by hand. And it's just oiled with an aluminium butt plate. So as usual, the receiver has these two little cover plates so that this part doesn't move. Plastic releaser, you could make it hardwood. And this long wire link that links the trigger over here to the sear. You might just be able to see that move. I'll take this apart too. Now you can see how it all works. You can see that wire link a bit more easily. Now that acts on the rotor and how the bolt stops it. Also see the magazine spring, that's just an ordinary coil spring. But I'm sure you'll have plenty of trouble trying to find just the right spring, because I did. Ideally you want that to be about 11 by 60. But again, you use what you have. Take the wire link out first. You can see there's a spring behind the trigger, of course. Take the rotor and sear out. Now the more unusual parts are the ejector and the bolt. The way this works is bring the bolt back, I'll load a couple of shells in. I'll take the magazine spring out because otherwise it'll go flying across the room. Let's just say that there is a spring there putting tension on those shells. You push the bolt forward, actually picks a bolt actually picks a cartridge off the magazine forward, and it presses down that ejector. And when the bolt goes back, you can see that shell now stays there because the edge of the next shell actually stops it from sliding back. So that will stay forward in this chamber, and as the bolt goes back, this ejector will push that shell out of the magazine, or the chamber. Obviously if I do it that slowly, it's not going to kick it out. I'll demonstrate it with the next one. Try and do it a bit quicker. There you have it. There we go. The bolt itself is really pretty simple. This part doesn't rotate. This bit just stops the bolt from pulling straight out the back. It simply has a long screw down inside here to hold the bolt handle on. The handle is made from plywood, a little hardwood knob, and this part too. The last really important thing, as I put it back together, is that the receiver needs to be able to fit inside here. So I made the receiver out of 12mm hardwood and 3mm ply, which makes it 18mm wide. And of course I used 19mm cypress for the stock. Now it is really important to note, I did make this too long. So it's up to you to make the stock and the barrel as long as you see fit. Because really, this side would look a lot better if it was up here.